Good evening. I'm Bob Stone, the chair of the Underhill Selectboard. Today is the 11th of December. It is Thursday. It is 6 o'clock. We are here at the Town Hall at 12 Pleasant Valley Road in Underhill for an in-person and remote select board meeting that's regularly scheduled. There has been an agenda that has been prepared and posted in advance. Are there any corrections or adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none here. Not seeing anyone, so we're good there. Everyone's here. So the first item on the agenda is the open public comment. There's no one here at the town hall except for staff and the select board. So is there anyone virtually that would like to talk or discuss any comment for the select board?
Michelle has her hand up.
Michelle, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yep. Okay. Just speak now.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Hi, I'm Michelle Downing. I submitted the petitions for the Apartheid-Free Community Pledge that's on the agenda for today. I wanted to just say thank you for taking the time to consider this pledge as an article for town meeting. Just a little bit about the pledge. It was developed by the American Friends Service Committee. It's been adopted by 5 Vermont towns already, and there's active campaigns in 20 more towns right now. 165 Underhill voters signed the petition asking for the pledge to be an article for town meeting. Community members signed this because we're fed up with the role that we, as citizens of the U.S., play in supporting Israel's actions in Palestine. 27.6 million Vermont tax dollars were sent to Israel in 2024, and that's when we do the math, it's $221,458 from Underhill. Our state has experienced anti-Muslim violence, and our freedom of speech has been oppressed around this issue. And these are all things that are happening locally. So I would argue this is a local issue, and passing this resolution can be the first step in addressing some of these things that are happening in relation to locally, as well as addressing the greater problem of apartheid in Palestine. It is a non-binding resolution, but there's clearly articulated values that can then be built upon them through individual actions and also community-based actions if the community decides to proceed. I also wanted to just mention there's a long history of Vermonters standing up for larger issues at town meeting. I read an interesting VT Digger article. They were talking about even before the United States was the United States and before the American Revolution, town meeting was happening, and the Vermont towns were voting to oppose British actions, including boycotting nails made in Great Britain, just an example in the article. And in the 80s, towns were supporting nuclear freeze resolutions. In the 90s, there were votes against the Iraq War. And so there's a history of the town meeting resolutions being activist. And I'd like to see Underhill join this tradition and allow this AFC pledge to be voted on at town meeting. So thank you for listening. And pretty sure everybody has, I've emailed all the select board members individually, so you all have my email, but you want to reach out, just feel free to reach out to me at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks.
Is there any other public comment?
I received a correspondence from Laura Seaman today, and I see she's online, but she did mention that she had her hands full with her granddaughter tonight, I think. So I have a short thing I'd like to read into the record that she submitted.
Okay.
December 11th, 2025, written to the Town of Underhill Select Board members. I would like to request the Select Board consider a change to the following budget item for 2026, which I'm assuming she means fiscal year 27. According to the Town of Underhill annual report ending June 30th, 2024, page 22, item 1, full-time employees receive 100% employer-paid medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance. I'm deeply concerned about the affordability of living in this wonderful town. In light of state education and local budgets, the property tax increases have and will continue to be very challenging. I'm also grateful for the work that town employees do every day. It is important and valuable work. At the same time, I believe this budget item is worth considering. Over my career in both private and governmental entities, I have always been responsible for a portion of my monthly insurance premiums, in addition to deductibles and copays. In my most recent position for the Mansfield Unified Union School District, I paid 15% of my premiums. Life insurance was also not free, but purchased by employees based on their desired level. It was very affordable, but it was not fully paid. Federal employees and state of Vermont employees all pay a portion of their insurance premiums. So it seems logical that municipal employees also pay a portion. Seniors on Medicare pay premiums for Part B and D and deductibles for Part A and B. In reviewing the salaries for town employees, they're very competitive. Offering generous benefit packages typically is meant to offset less than competitive salaries. I would suggest that offering both competitive salaries and generous benefits is putting too great of a burden on the taxpayers. Please consider this as you are drafting the budget for the upcoming year. Thank you, Laura Seaman.
Thank you. Any other comment, public comment? Seeing and hearing none, we can move on to the next item on the agenda. Russ Clark is here, and you're up. Good evening.
Won't take much of your time. We haven't done much of anything the last week or so.
Chasing snowflakes.
We've been doing a lot of that, a lot of plowing and sanding, salting. Guys stay positive, happy. Things are going very well. All the equipment is running good. Haven't had really any major issues. Had some small things that we've been able to repair in-house. We've done some we did a bucket loader service, got the oil change and filters and so on. That done. The new truck is going very well. We've been doing a few tweaks here and there for Dwayne's liking to get it to his level where he wants things and so on. I've been working on that a little bit. And we did cut all the trees at Bridge 7 that we're asked to do. So that's all done and ready for spring. And we built our first of the 2 speed signs just for one for River Road. We got it all ready. Just got to slide it in the ground when we get a good day. So that one should be up shortly.
Nice.
Other than that, nothing.
And then we had a car takeout, one of the new signs you just put in.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we put up new Maple Leaf Road signs down Mountain Road intersection, and nicely, the state police called me last night at 11:30, which I thought was my alarm going off for this morning, and I'm like, oh my God, already? It was state police, and they just wanted to tell me that the car took out the sign and hit the guardrails and
Oh,
took the sign down. So we've got their information. I've worked with Brad to get all the information. He's gonna work on getting it submitted so we get the guardrail fixed and new sign and posts. So yeah, the sign's all about 3 weeks old, maybe 2 weeks old. So.
Any questions for Russ?
thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you.
Thanks.
For all your hard work.
Yeah.
Next week, while you're here, I don't know if you're going to take off or you're going to stay for the entire meeting, but please extend to the folks on Thursday to come in and vote before the scheduled select board meeting.
That was today, Dan.
I did too.
I think I should make cookies.
I did. I brought cookies and I shared them with people.
But not us.
a pre, a pre, a pre, a
You
pre,
weren't here.
a pre,
He
a
was
preemptive
practicing.
strategic, a preemptive strategic strike, I see.
I see, you're
You're
bribing. the
diabolical, is what you are. You're just like, get them all, like, oh, try this cookie. You know?
For the trophy.
Oh, he is going for the trophy. I didn't realize that we were with a master
How were his
here.
cookies?
Oh.
There we go.
What kind of cookies were they?
I can't tell.
Oh, you're dropping the gauntlet. All right, very good.
I
Figured out what I'm gonna make yet.
I know, right? It's just like, here's Dan sweetening the pot, just like,
Practice
oh,
round.
do you like this fine for frosting? Oh,
It's a
good.
good
He's
thing.
testing
I
the
wasn't
water.
gonna have time next week to do anything. Of course, they're in the freezer now and they'll be good. I would have had to do it. anyway.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope they don't get freezer burned, Dan. Just, that would be too bad.
Just thaw them out before you bring them down.
You don't want to break any teeth.
Yeah. All right, very good. So we're on to the next item on the agenda, if there's no questions for us. Receive the Apartheid Free Community campaign petition. So I think we can fairly safely say that we have officially received that petition, and then we will.
Correct. I should just like say a couple things about it. It is in the packet, included in the packet, the full petition. It was checked by Sherry. It has the required signatures. It will appear under the petitions portion or segment on the select board page, as all petitions have been. And you'll be able to consider it at a future meeting.
Very good.
Okay,
Thank you. Next item is to review and consider the 22 Park Street access permit application.
All right, so in your packet is just pull this out, is a memo from Maya, including some supporting information about the project. So if you're not familiar with where 22 Park Street is, it's the old First Step print shop, right next to the telephone building. Remember the print shop? Been there for
Indeed.
years.
Half in
Hello,
Underhill,
building.
half in Jericho.
No, I'd say more like 10% in Underhill, 90% in Jericho. So you'll see, she has, she included in her memo some little clippets of the map. And so this has a little bit of history because it was a subdivision that was approved, I think, over 5-6 years ago.
on Park Street.
You're so good at that.
You remember Park Street?
I didn't know.
Okay.
So if everybody knows where the telephone exchange, the Underhill Telephone Exchange is, it's a block building that sits across from the post office.
I know where the building is. I
Okay.
don't.
So it's right next door, okay, right next door. And this subdivision was approved by the Jericho Development Review Board probably 5 or 6 years ago, given no consideration to Underhill, that the front lies, the front 17 feet past the edge of the right of way, all lies in Underhill. So I became aware of this during the Old Mill property. I started doing a little research, and when I was doing the research, I discovered that this was approved by the Jericho DRB.
And this is distinct from the Old Mill project. This is a
Yes.
separate subdivision. Okay.
Exactly. This is owned by separate people. Well, for what we know, this is a separate applicant, separate person. And
But I caution to look at the site map that we've seen in the past.
well, for sure. It almost looks like it would be convenient to tie it into the Old Mill subdivision, but
Mhm.
that's not the intent right now, according to the applicant. So, and you'll see in Maya's summary here, basically what they want to do is, I'm glad you've got the, I should have done that before, but I thought maybe everybody'd be a little bit more familiar with it. But there's an existing curb cut there that's fairly wide. They want to abandon that curb cut and just move it down the street towards River Road, towards the telephone building. So they'll have a straight shot in on the, I guess it'd be the easterly sideline of the property. So basically they want to remove the existing curb cut, install sidewalk and at grade with the existing sidewalk, create a new curb cut located southwest of the current access point, construct an 18-foot driveway with a 20-foot radius and a 60-foot right-of-way. Because it, so when we look at these situations, we apply what's called Dillon's rule. And basically, the municipality of Underhill only has the control within its municipal boundaries. So you cannot rule on anything in Jericho. You cannot, it's out of your purview. However, it makes sense to think about, okay, if we're approving access in Underhill that's going to be serving other lots in Jericho, you need to be mindful of how that's going to be used. The Underhill DRB took a little different approach, and they decided to look at it because if you look on the plans here that are part of Maya's attachment, you'll see that on the bottom one here, it's in your packet, the town line goes through the building. So they decided to
So
just.
Brad, I'm looking at the schematic. I had a hard time interpreting this, so I was wondering if you could actually walk us through.
Sure.
I can't tell where
So let's look at the schematic.
where it's the new proposed driveway.
Okay, so let's look at the bottom one.
Okay.
Okay, and you can see it's labeled existing gravel driveway. You see that?
I
So you-
can't,
Do you want to put it, share, and I'll put it up there and you can point
yeah,
to
you
it?
could
It's right
point.
here.
Here, if you
So
look,
the existing gravel driveway is here. Okay, so they want to move,
Wait, tell me,
okay, so
I'm trying
this,
to look on my screen too.
okay, so this
So
is
this
part,
is existing here?
this part right here is the existing,
Okay,
right?
thank you.
Yep, that's the
Park
building,
Street is here.
that's right. That's the existing driveway. So they want to abandon this
Okay,
and they're proposing to move the access point to here,
right along the tree line.
right? And so River Road would be here,
It's right along their tree line through their
yes,
garden,
Yes.
essentially.
mhm.
correct.
That's helpful.
So if you look again at see the yellow, the house, existing house that it
Mhm.
says, right?
Mhm.
See the green line that's going through the front of the house?
There's no green.
Right,
like a dotted line.
right
It's
here.
parallel to
Mm.
Park Street.
I have a great one.
Well, it's a gray line, yeah. Looks green to me, but it's
Okay.
gray.
Mhm.
See the gray line, the dashed
Yep,
line going
yep.
through the house? That's the town boundary,
Okay,
okay?
that's helpful.
So the dark line that's to the north of that, the dark dashed line, that's the edge of the right of way of Park Street.
Okay.
So what we control is all the way up to that town line going through the house, everything to the north of Park Street, right? So anything going into the property from that town line,
Mhm.
you have no purview, no jurisdiction, no say in whatsoever. So this is an access permit
Mhm.
application. And the DRB held a hearing, reviewed it. It's serving 3 lots, but multiple units. Less than 60 vehicle trips per day, trip ends per day, which is important because that triggers a traffic study.
Mhm.
So long story short is once you get into Jericho, Jericho doesn't really care about the width of the road. They're gonna let it neck down to like 12 feet. But that's up to them. That's what they do.
The
The
driveway
driveway or the road?
becomes.
The driveway.
Okay,
So the curb cut's gonna be enormous and then it's gonna neck down to this little 12-foot driveway.
What's the fire department's opinion on that?
Well, that's up to the fire department,
Yeah.
but I think Maya did recommend that the fire department should review this,
Mhm.
but we're taking the first step of trying to get, so the reason this is in front of you is because it deals with drainage onto a town highway. So if you look at our road ordinance, certain certain bodies have authority. So the zoning administrator can issue certain access permits. The DRB can issue certain access permits, and the select board can.
Mhm.
So this being a class 2 highway, which is designated as to be some of the most important towns or highways in our town, which includes Park Street, River Road, and Pleasant Valley, is a class 2 highway. And we have underground storm drain system here and sidewalk and curbing. So it's certainly relevant that the select board also weigh in on this application. So the DRB has approved it, just as Maya said. And the DRB is recommending to the select board the following. Access is limited to 60 average daily trip ends and no more than 10 a.m. or p.m. peak hour trips.
What does that mean?
Well, it means basically it's
No more than 10 trips in the morning?
well, 60. 60 is the key.
No,
60 is the key number, right?
Hold on. It
Yeah.
says, I'm trying to interpret this
Sure.
sentence. Access is limited to 60 average daily trip ends, comma, that's
Mhm.
one segment. And no more than 10,
Yep.
I'm gonna ask, trips
Yes,
in the AM and the PM
exactly.
during peak hours?
Exactly.
What are peak hours?
I couldn't tell you what the peak hours are. It's in our regulations.
Okay. Who's
But-
gonna monitor this?
So you can't monitor
Russ
it.
is gonna
It's
sit
based
there.
on, the units, okay? So this is law, right? It's all in the B71 standard. So we know the number of units, right? We know that.
The
we
housing
know-
units.
Yes, and there's a certain amount of vehicles assigned to each unit. It's all in our regulations. And I didn't want to get in, I could have given you a dissertation on this if you wanted, but I think you should take the DRB approved it,
Mhm.
saying that it's limited to 60 average.
So
Once you-
it's a formula based, not a
Exactly.
like specific counter
No,
based.
you don't count, but once it goes over that 60, it's a different situation. Very, very different situation. So what would trigger this is if this road got connected, say, into the mill property, if they decided to build another unit, right? They have to come back to us. Anytime there's a change in the access, like say you wanted to put an ADU on your property, that would trigger the road ordinance because now you're increasing the volume of that curb cut. Same with the state. So basically, we just have to keep an eye on the situation, but it's up to the applicant to, it's clearly in the decision. If anything changes, they got to come back here. So you can issue the access permit, or you could authorize Maya to issue it.
Mhm.
I would recommend that you issue it, and I recommend that we put some conditions on it. I think some of the conditions should be, they're going to be basically replacing a piece of sidewalk and ripping up another piece of sidewalk. And they're going to be messing with the curbing and some pavement. I would say that some conditions would be that this work should be done seasonal when it's proper to be done, not in the wintertime. It should be inspected by our engineer, and they should receive a letter of compliance from the select board saying that the project was done as proposed.
Mhm.
And then
they pay for
additionally,
that engineer.
that'll be paid by the applicant.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I think that Maya had mentioned is, so there's nothing really, there's no map or document that states that the right of way is going to be 60 feet. So like I said, this was approved years ago in Jericho. They've made some modifications. I don't know if they're going back to Jericho or not. It's really none of our concern, but Maya's suggesting that we file a plat, which is a survey map that clearly shows what the proposal was. So again, we're just looking at this from this line to here. That's it. So The DRB felt that the width was adequate. And then we can also run it by the fire department for their review. So you could also put it as a condition that it be contingent on review by the fire department.
So, question, if this gets expanded upon, and let's say that that's now a entranceway to get into the mill property, hypothetically speaking.
Sure.
And we decide that there needs to be a traffic light or there needs to be a turning lane, who would pay for that and who would be responsible for that?
Well, that's a totally different application, right? So we'd cross that bridge when we get to it. But certainly the developer, if there's a burden on the street that's out of your control, the developer is responsible for improvements.
Okay.
And
You know?
there is one of the languages I appreciated that Maya included in the recommendation that the board retains jurisdiction over this access. And if any change use pertaining to the proposed driveway that increases traffic over the stipulated threshold nullifies the approval, that it sort of automatically nullifies the approval, and then they would have to come back to the board for any changes.
I guess I'm a little concerned because this just paints just a small little picture of what we're looking at, but just down the road from where this entrance is going to be, you have Harvest Crossing. So you're creating almost a four-way intersection.
You mean Harvest Run?
Harvest Run, excuse me. You know, that's just down from here.
Yeah, I think it's, so we have distances that apply, and I think that was reviewed. And I know exactly what you're talking about, Bob, but well, that could be something we could look into.
And I'm assuming that this would be a
And
private
this is the
road.
post office right here.
Correct, and it
And-
would need a name.
And if,
That's the post office.
now, is
And
that,
this is the property. in
because
question.
we
That's where
have
the
the
driveway
frontage?
is here.
is that our, will that pass through us to Jericho for the name?
It would be our name,
Our
because
name.
the sign sits in town of Underhill.
And if it would be expanded into the old mill
This-
property, I mean, they would have to enlarge that private
I'm
road.
looking at yeah.
That's up to
Significant.
Jericho,
Yeah,
right? That's up to
House
Jericho,
there.
so we can only plan on what's proposed here, but
Correct.
yes, it could expand.
mhm.
It could expand, it could require them to widen the access.
I'm also a little concerned, like where that is near the lot line. And the phone company's parking lot is right tight to that lot.
They were notified of the hearing, the DRB hearing, and they were notified, they were sent a package. So I called my contacts with the phone company and made sure I got the proper place for it to be sent. And I have an email correspondence with exactly the person that was going to be reviewing it.
Mhm.
So, meets the regulations. So, if the phone company didn't participate, they didn't participate.
So do you want to propose language for us to approve and get that to us for our next meeting?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I'll look into the distance, because we can only, if the distance is sufficient from this new curb cut down to Harvest Run, and the distance is okay according to our regs, you can't deny it. So I'll check that distance and make sure. I believe it's 100 feet. I don't think a new curb cut can be within 100 feet of another opposing curb
But
cut.
is Harvest Run, is that actually Harvest Run, or is that that was post office? So does Harvest Run actually go off the post office road, or is it Harvest
Yeah,
Run actually?
I think it's all Harvest Run.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
Mhm.
including the post office.
That does look like it might
Well,
be
you
close to
ought to be
100
able to-
feet now that I'm
You
looking at
ought to
it.
be able to take Google Maps and do a quick,
I'll just go out and tape it.
what's the distance?
I'll just go out and tape it. I don't need to Google map it, yeah. Because I can't tell I know where the boundary is there. I'll just go out and tape it.
But I mean, shooting from the hip, pardon the expression.
Sure.
You ought to be able to, I mean, I know you can figure it out like to the, to the 10th inch,
Yeah,
right?
I just didn't go out and
But-
see it in the field myself, but yeah,
Right, but I mean, you could say it's 75 feet all day long,
right.
plus or minus 5 feet.
So really, it's the length of the consolidated communications lot is essentially
Yeah, plus a little.
plus the level. That's close.
It's close. Yeah. It's close, but I think.
Yeah, it's worth
that-
investigating.
But the DRB would have invested or did investigate
Yeah,
that.
oh,
They
okay.
look at all aspects of the
Yeah.
regs.
Okay.
They go through, and I included their decision in your
Mhm.
packet. So if you're, I would be prepared to have an access permit with conditions ready
That'd be great.
for next time, and we can go from there.
Okay.
I know it's kind of
It's an important
complicated.
comment
but
that you made, Brad, that we can't arbitrarily deny things. It has to be,
You have to have a
if it's
very
in
good reason.
compliance with
Mhm.
our ordinance, we can't deny
That's
that.
just unpleasant.
Once that, but if you break that 60 trips per day, then all bets are off. It's a very different
And that's,
situation.
that's typical language to add as a condition,
Yeah,
the-
it's in the condition of the DRB approval.
right? But adding that is,
Oh, yeah, that's what
That's typical.
Maya suggested. Oh, definitely, for sure.
and that language
For sure.
is normal speak.
Yes,
The
Very
10,
normal.
because I'm like initially, I read it as 10 a.m., like 10 o'clock, 8
now we can
That's
write it
peak.
a little bit more clear, but this is,
Like 10 trips.
this is talk that lawyers and developers and surveyors we use all the
It's
time,
legalese.
all the time.
Got a lawyer in the family. She might.
Well, she's a Vermont lawyer. She would know.
New York City lawyer.
Well, she might know. They may look at traffic differently in New York.
Maple syrup and
But-
have it come up.
Anyway,
Okay.
I don't want to, I could have made this really, really complicated. I tried not to. But, because I could talk about this for
Mhm.
quite some time. But I think what I would suggest is read the DRB's opinion or
Mhm.
their approval. And I believe the appeal period has just got finished or will be finished on December 17th. So it's still under appeal for the DRB. So it's totally appropriate that we wait out that appeal period
Mhm.
and then you issue the,
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
so.
All right.
Are we good?
Oh, one question. It says the driveway should be constructed in accordance with some AOT B-71.
It shall be.
Shall be,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay,
Shall be.
not should,
Well, she's
must.
making a shell. It has to, that goes
Should
without
is-
saying, so I know, but what she's saying, I think she's just directing you that it should be done that way.
Okay,
It will be
Our-
in my,
will be shall.
oh yeah.
Okay.
I've written many
Perfect.
access permits. And it'll be very bulletproof.
Okay. Sweet.
And it has to be, it's according to our regs, shall be built, says it right down. So that's that.
Okay, so we're good?
I think so, just a minute, I gotta look at the. Yes, I believe we're good and I'll have something ready
Okay.
for you next time.
So the next item is the fiscal year 27 UJFD budget debrief by Patty and Chuck.
Mhm.
So I just want to be abundantly transparent here. I am a member of the fire department. I don't mind, I don't think it's a problem to hear
Mhm.
the debrief, but I will not be, I'll be recusing myself from this. So it'll be the four of you deciding, that budget. Because I don't want there to be an appearance of a conflict of interest. So before we get into it, I just want to let you know that.
Okay,
And if it gets to a point where I guess any of you feel I should step away, be happy to turn it over to any one of you.
If
Can I ask
if
one
feel
question,
table that
Patty?
like that.
Before you get started.
sure.
I put this stuff that Todd sent me in the packet,
Yeah.
the pages. Did you guys receive anything different from this?
What I have, just check the number. Mine's slightly different, but not.
Okay, but this basic
It's like
information.
5K off.
Okay, yep, good.
It's actually a little lower.
Because I had
It's
an
only
annual, I had a,
Yeah.
basically,
372.
basically had an annual report and explanation in the budget.
So to lay the framework, we have a contract with the fire department, and we are required under that contract to meet with the town of Jericho to discuss if we approve the budget and then what percentage of the budget each town is going to pay for. Those would be the two things that we would have to
Well, we accept the budget. So
accept the budget, and then we have to discuss with Jericho what percentage of that budget, Underhill is going to pay, and they would, say how much they are going to pay, and hopefully that equals 100%. Right? There's no,
So,
I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but it's just like,
No.
but I think we have to,
but I think you, I don't want to speak for Patty and Shara, but I think the budget is set that way
Right.
with the split that's been
Yeah,
presented.
I think that we agreed on a split and
but
And
if you're,
what is the split?
this,
3862.
I think so.
But Bob is correct. Actually, in that agreement, it doesn't say about accepting a budget. The sole purpose to meet each year is to set the split. But it's been 6238, basically based on the 2020 census.
Okay.
And when Matt did the call volume, it almost came out to match that.
That's helpful.
so take it away.
Okay, I'll start and then you can jump in. So we had this probably 2 weeks ago now, 2 weeks or so, I can't remember the date. Well, we had a good working session for an hour and a half. Went through, who was the gentleman's name? Is it Matt?
Todd
Todd.
Fisher.
So Todd went through the step-by-step, each line item. We asked some questions. There was some discussion about pulling from their reserve funds to decrease the budget. Both myself and Shara and the Jericho folks were not in support of taking from the reserve funds so that they can keep those funds honored for the capital expenditures that are coming up. And we looked at the projection of the reserve funds and their spend rate. And within about 6 or 7 years, the reserve funds will become negative. So my push was not to tap those because they're already going to be used up for vehicles and trucks and equipment. And the increase was a 4.8% increase. I thought it was reasonable. I didn't see any shocking material in it, and I was in full support of what they proposed. So the number is a little bit different from what we were given for the handout versus what's in our packet. Their number is like 5,000 lower, so I'm still in support of what we've seen in our packets. Anything else to?
I did notice, so Matt used to do several reports, and he would have like a capital reserve report, and he would have, not that we really care about the Rivers land, but he had a Rivers land report, but I think that was touched on in the summary.
We did go through, we asked about the reserves. We went through that on the file up on the big screen and looked at that.
Yeah. Do they have an audit completed yet? Probably close. I could
I
reach
don't
out
know
to
the
Todd.
answer to that
Okay.
question.
I know I asked, I asked if there was
You did
a.
ask.
Yeah.
I did.
It's usually it comes out of Brown this time, so I can follow Todd on that.
Happy to answer any questions. Just do a quick review.
What color are the fire trucks?
They should be neon red.
Is the staffing consistent and sufficient? Is there, I saw that there was potential that the fire personal safety is level funded, but may need to pull from reserve if new members are added. Is that anticipated, or do they feel like they have sufficient staff or insufficient?
They have insufficient staff. So it's been a challenge to staff them up fully for several years. And in particular, these last couple of years has really been a challenge.
I was really struck by the difference of our fire department being private and the difference in the salaries and the benefits that we can offer our employees of our fire department, and how difficult it is for us to keep
Yeah.
staff.
They talked
It's-
about poaching of, once we bring somebody up and to educate them and get them trained, then they go to some other place
Hmm.
who's got better benefits and better pay.
They
Yeah.
just lost their full-time person, Chris Parker, I think is.
Yeah. And that was, I didn't, before this, I had no understanding
Yeah.
of that, and it was startling, especially given how highly I think of our fire department, and just that blood, sweat, and tears, and not very good compensation our local folks
Yeah.
are getting.
They
A
talked
lot of
about,
appreciation.
exactly. They talked about not having Beamer's benefits, so retirement benefits through the state, and other fire departments do. So you'll get somebody for a couple of years and they'll flee to a Burlington, to a South Burlington, Williston, who has the full package.
Well, the difference is they're either tied to the municipality
Exactly. That's
or
why.
they're a municipality themselves.
Exactly.
fire departments.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the reality. Do they have any plans that you talked about to change that reality? Which would put pressure on the two towns, obviously.
I felt a few pokes of Jericho that as they're growing, like, it's Todd, I want to call him Matt, but I
Okay.
know it's not.
That was the last
I
one.
know that.
Todd.
That's the last one. So Todd talked about a ladder truck, and he looked at the Jericho folks, for you guys, because you have all
Yeah,
this
wow.
development going in. But it was a little bit of a poke, but I think that is, as Jericho develops and gets bigger, I mean, maybe that is the direction where the fire department goes. It's,
Or are they gonna need their own fire department?
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like they need a full-fledged fire department for.
Did you say
support
the
that
department was
construction.
its own municipality
Yeah.
in some places?
Oh, well, so like Cambridge, for example, it's run by the town. So all the
Payroll. through the
payroll
town.
through the town,
Their employees of the
insurance,
town.
I see, okay.
town owns the building.
Mm-hmm.
Here, we just pay for the service.
I see.
And the Underhill-Jericho Fire Department controls the whole thing.
It may be worth considering to tackle the retention and recruitment component, is to have one or both of the towns to have the employees. They would be employees of either
That
town, and they would be managed by
Mm.
the fire department. So then they would have access to the benefits, and both towns would, share that cost of the salary and the wages and the retirement and everything like that. So that may be something down the road that both towns may want to consider looking at, is that in order to try to stay competitive with the other municipal departments, it's very difficult for a private entity,
Mm-hmm.
or the fire department may consider to become its own fire district,
Mhm.
and that would be similar to like the library, and they would have their own, they would set it that way, and then they would be able to get into like the Vermont municipal employees retirement system. So I mean, there's a couple different ways that you probably could, look at to try to tackle that recruitment and retention. But I can tell you that it's everywhere. It's not, if we were managing the town of Williston or Shelburne, everyone is in the same predicament. It's just like, it's very hard to find people that want to, do that line of work.
And it's also like for young people, Jennifer's talked about it a bunch, with Beamers, they're not really thinking like retirement and socking all that money away. They want a paycheck that they can live on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the rub right there, I think.
I wanted to just point out one thing, maybe not a big deal, but in my world, a big deal. The numbers that we received on Friday morning, which are $5,000 less or more than what Patty and Shar had, is not a 4.85% increase, it's a 5.9% increase. And so it's closer to 6% than 5%. But I just want to point that out because
Oh, thank you.
I'm always looking at things like, oh, how much, what's the library percent increase? What's, this organization's increase? And I do think there's a difference between,
So this percentage that's in our packet is inaccurate?
Is it accurate by percentage?
not when I calculated, it's incorrect. Yeah.
Is it based off of
I'm not sure if they made it
25?
off of the higher
Fiscal year
number or the
25
lower
budget?
number, but the reason I looked is because when I had done it and when I entered the numbers in version 4, it came out at 5.9%. And so then I went back and checked the math and, because I thought maybe I had an error, but it doesn't appear,
Seems like I did that.
so.
It-
Not a big
Are we sure about the 38 and it's not 37?
I, them,
What do you mean? It's 38.62,
You're 100%.
100% sure.
Okay.
I usually don't say that, but I am.
Okay.
No, it's not an odd number. I would have remembered that.
It was 36.
No, it's
Stop.
38.62.
Jen, their 4.85% is 372 divided by 354, the 25
So they,
budget.
yeah, so they just had, the equation was wrong. I can reach out to them tomorrow and just let them know. It's not a big deal, but it just isn't. Right.
And I'm coming in with 4.85%.
This is total.
372
the-
divided by 354.
so it's, their math was the request versus the actual, not the request versus the request.
It's the budget request for 27, fiscal year 27 divided by the budget for 25. So
Instead of 26.
Exactly.
They just used the wrong
They used the wrong year.
cell.
Oh, I see, okay.
So if they use 351, it would be a higher percentage.
Which is reflected on our budget.
Yeah, it makes sense to use the fiscal year 26. That's the most recent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just want to do the split here quick.
I'm intrigued by the
Exactly what it
idea
is.
of,
Split's 38%. Just did it.
down the road, thinking about if the employees of the fire department are kind of like the reverse of our setup with CC or
Exactly.
CP, whatever. The Chittenden County Regional Planning, we're like the setup with Maya, where like, if she is employed, she works for us, but is sort of an employee of
Mhm.
the
Is
regional
actually,
planning.
is actually thinking that, let this marinate for a year or so and see how this relationship works with Chittenden County Regional Planning, and then say, well, what if
Mhm.
what we did with Chittenden County, we did with the fire department? It seems to work here. Why couldn't we get
Yeah.
it to work there? And then if people feel that way, then we could probably invite Jericho to, begin to have that conversation if that's the direction that the folks at the fire department want to go in. And then, kind of go from there.
It's a nice idea.
I guess I'd want to see if it's a legal thing to do, like through the state labor department or whatever. If it's
Right. Oh,
Right.
yeah, it's just a concept.
Mhm. Yeah, if that can be a replicable model, I think that would be
Mhm.
really interesting, so.
As a town, I think it's really valuable when our teachers, our firefighters, our town employees can also afford to live in our town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For now, right? For now they can, right? But who knows?
New Hampshire.
Anything else?
The only thing I would say is, so next week, next Thursday, the Jericho Select Board's coming here at 6, and we'll have the same presentation with Todd, and I would say you're more than welcome to bring the split up, but I would say if they accept the budget as it's presented, it is a 38-62 split.
Mhm.
So we don't need to take an action on this tonight.
No, this is more of a briefing, but I just,
Got it.
we need to come to an agreement on that split. We need to accept it, and then we need to agree upon the
By
split.
accepting the budget as presented, you've agreed on a split.
I see that.
Right, because that's how it's calculated
I
in the
just
budget.
calculated it to 38% split, because I took out the revenue. I took 38% of the revenue and I took 38% of the overall.
Well, that makes it
I
even,
subtract.
so you only have one question. Do you accept, do you or don't you accept the
budget.
the budget as presented?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you could certainly talk about the split if you want, but I think we've hashed that out several times, so.
Okay.
And then if we get into a real debate about the split, then how are we gonna, I think it's based on call volume.
I mean, if the call volume supports the census numbers of the past, I wouldn't necessarily
It has,
argue with it. So seems like it's fair all the way around.
So we would wait until the next census, I guess.
Mhm.
Right,
Potentially.
redo it again, yeah.
Or if you see a large,
Yeah.
if you see a large call volume because of, let's say,
Development.
of a retirement or elderly housing unit or something like that, and they are constantly having to go for something like that, then you may want to raise your eyebrows, but
Mhm.
I think it's been conveniently working out that
Mhm.
the call volume split is matched. Identical. So,
is it the consensus to move on? I don't want to push this, so.
I'm good.
No, I think we're good.
Good, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. too, for
You're very
Yes,
doing that.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you for stepping in when I was no longer available, so.
No worries.
All right, so next on the agenda is the fiscal year 27 Highway Infrastructure Committee update. I see Mike is here. He's behind the Penske pole.
I am sitting quietly in the background.
What are you doing, Mike?
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
We meet again.
So we got a couple things here for you that are on our list of things to do,
Right, first of which I guess is the bridge, the infamous bridge,
and awarding the project, maybe.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Our engineer, Tyler Billingsley from East Engineering, did quite a bit of research on this firm, Bird's Eye Building Company, that gave us the low bid. I think their bid was, without looking, I think it was around $979,000. The original estimate, I think, way back when the design was finished, was in the high sixes or something. But
Yeah.
then over the years, construction costs just seemed to blossom everywhere. So the most recent estimate from the design engineer was in the high eights, I think.
878,
Yeah.
the exact number of the bond.
Yeah, right. And then the bids came in and they ranged from 1,300,000 and something down to this 979. And Bird's Eye has never done a bridge exactly like this, but they've done some big concrete box culverts. They've done some work at the range here in Jericho. And they worked with Clark Elliott, who's on our committee on that project. And he said it was all good. They did good work. They had good communications. There were no extras. And the general feeling among all of us on the committee and Tyler and Cricket, our structural design engineer, is that we should award to Bird's Eye. And if we have to spend a little more on oversight by Cricket or Tyler to make sure that the newcomers to the bridge job aren't getting in over their heads, then we could do that because we've got 100 and some thousand difference between the low bid and the next low bid. So we have a little wiggle room there.
I think the other important thing is the engineer that put the bid together is Galen Hagan. He lives on North Underhill Station Road. He worked for Du Bois and King. He was responsible for some very large projects. They did the inspection for us, and Galen worked with us on the sidewalk project. But he's used to doing, really large V-Trans projects. He's a professional engineer. Worked for one of the biggest, I think Du Bois and King is the biggest
One of the
engineering
biggest,
firm in New England or in the state anyway. So most of the folks that run the equipment, I think there were like 3 or 4 of them. They're all Underhill residents. So I feel comfortable with Galen because I've worked with him. I know he knows what he's doing, so I would assume he'd be overseeing the project.
He is going to be in
Yeah.
charge of the project.
So
Do we have a sense that he does have bridge experience? I'm concerned
yeah.
about that statement. Have not completed a bridge.
this
this
is Bird's
size.
Eye, has not completed a bridge. I believe Galen, we could ask for his resume, but I believe he's designed bridges and overseen inspection for big projects.
Yeah, I just want to be sure that we've got the right people on it. It's never good to get,
So another,
to go forward
Yeah.
with a company that hasn't done a project. I want to be the beta version for a company, but if their staff, if we know their staff have worked on big projects such as bridges and complicated things, then I can become comfortable with it. But that line scares me.
so another thing that Tyler mentioned in his report was that probably 600 to 700,000 of this amount that they estimated will be done by subcontractors and good ones. SD Ireland, all their list of subs were,
People we know. and love.
people we know and love and people that
Okay.
do this every day.
Bridges,
So-
not
Yes,
Right.
bridges.
sidewalks, only
So,
bridge
so
work.
the trick of those bridges, right, is getting the footings in the ground. So there's no, it's ledge, it's shallow to ledge,
Yep.
right? So there's gonna basically, the challenging part is channeling the water over to one side, getting the foundation, the footing put in and pin the ledge.
Mhm.
And then once that's done, you switch to the other side and then you're kind of in a good situation.
Yeah.
So if you basically just have to accomplish the excavation for that. And then if you're hiring subs that have the pumps and everything else that do this every day, I just think we talked about it quite, between Mike and myself and Cricket and Tyler, we went around and around.
And our group, the committee group, too, same
Yeah.
discussion.
And Clark Elliott he's the owner of Civil Engineering Associates. He's on our infrastructure committee. It's a big engineering firm in South Burlington. And he's spoken highly of their quality of work.
Yeah.
And I know they build super high-end homes, but I know several people that work for them and they're all very good communicators, I think. So,
The other thing we thought about was, well, yeah, okay, this would be their first real bridge. But a lot of these guys live in Underhill. They want to do a good job. They don't want to live in the town where they're known as a bunch of bums that did a crappy bridge for Underhill.
They also want to
So
sell
it's
a
in there.
calling card.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. They want to be able to use the Underhill Bridge as a good reason why the next town can hire them for a bridge.
yeah, if they don't get a good reference from us, they're out of the business or out of that type
I have
of
a
business.
bridge business.
So you had said the game plan would be to hire Cricket to do some
Well,
overseeing,
Cricket
or?
and Tyler.
Okay, I highly support that. I just want to have the extra eyes on this.
Oh, they're gonna anyway. They're our engineers. It's their design.
I know, it's one of those, it's like, okay, you get comfortable with the entity, it's their first shot at it, but I want an extra set of eyes on
Yeah,
it.
belts and suspenders.
Exactly. I don't want to have it get screwed up.
And, we need to, so.
It's not just because my house is next door.
So,
I've never suggested
waiting for
anything.
this.
I've never entered into it.
so unbeknownst to me, the contract was part of the bid document. I didn't know that. I looked back in my email, I said, well, maybe I missed it. Tyler was recommending that you approve the contract. I don't think we should. This is a contract that's written, or it's a form through the professional engineers, and I spoke with Dave Rue, our attorney, about it. I think we want to take a look at the contract, make sure, for that exact reason, if things go south here and this isn't working out, we want to be able to pull the plug. We want to have a good contract that will allow us to do that. So again, though, I have, put a lot of thought into it. We all did. And I think it makes perfect sense. I have faith in Galen. I mean, I'm sure we could pull out some of his project. It seems like I remember talking with, was it Cricket or Tyler, or was it one of the bridge design people that were, or one of the bridge contractors that was here, worked on a huge, like $200 million slope stabilization.
Galen?
Yeah,
Yeah, there was some mention of that. I don't
a big,
remember who
big
brought it
project.
up.
I mean, Du Bois King, big stuff. But anyway, we feel good. But I think I would not recommend, I included the contract in your packet, but I wouldn't recommend, signing that right now.
So is your recommendation that we should approve the bid to award the contract and then
Yeah.
wait to sign until everybody's
That would be,
satisfied
that
with the
would be the
language?
recommended motion, to award the project with Bird's Eye construction
So,
Contingent
contingent on the contract.
on
obviously.
contract details to be settled,
Yeah.
something like that.
And it puts us in a little bit of a bad situation because it was part of the bid, right? Like when the contract's included. But I talked to Dave and I guess, like I said, I didn't know that this was part of the bid package because Tyler wanted to handle all the documents, which I appreciate. Because he didn't want, he wanted to make sure he's getting the right information out. But Dave Roos said this happens about, 98% of the time, he said. And he felt that if we need to make a few tweaks to the contract, that Birdseye hopefully would be amenable to that.
I can't imagine they wouldn't be, given that they really want this job.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you agree with that, Mike, too?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I need to recuse myself from this conversation and abstain from voting. My spouse is an employee of Birdseye, which is an employee-owned company as well.
Oh, interesting.
Shop manager.
Makes sense.
If you're interested in here, they
Hang it up 2 to 2.
Sorry.
They included a few projects in there, in the list of references, and there's a $500,000 project for the state of Vermont, a $650,000 project at the firing range, and Mike Moran apparently was the contact on that.
What was the $500,000 one?
Project description, emergency drainage, stream and road repairs for districts 5 and 6. Must have been in response to flooding.
Yeah.
Heath Allen firing range, improvement of trail 3B, including clearing, sub-base fracturing, stone line ditches, level spreaders, road surfacing. That was $650,000. And what was the other 650 description? Is installation of a plate arch culvert with a cast-in-place concrete substructure and associated streamwork. So that gets to the similarity
The
between
streamwork,
that and our project, where they're working in the stream, getting the stream out of their way, putting in foundation and going up from there. So,
And Tyler also said this is not as far as bridges go, this isn't a very complicated bridge because of the ledge. If you were in like a marshy area or swampy and you had to drive piles to China in order to get, a secure footing, it'd be different, but we're right on ledge. Scrape it away, get the water on your side. The water, as long as the weather cooperates, footing gets poured, pinned to ledge. And the rest is all precast. It's all bought from Context or whoever.
yeah, the actual deck is
You know.
precast, gets brought in on trucks and craned into place.
So the rest is really just excavation. So if Ireland comes in and does all the concrete work, it's what they do every day.
The subs that they mentioned were, paving, Ireland or McDonald, cast in place concrete, engineers construction or Ireland, precast concrete slabs, that'd be the precast outfit, Ireland or some outfit in New Hampshire. Crane work, Catamount Crane Company, membrane and waterproofing, Nikon, guardrail, Lafayette. So they're all familiar names. And also Cricket mentioned at some point that you really need a really good reason not to take a low bid when you bid a project like this. I mean, some history of this firm that where they defaulted on projects or something, that's a good reason. But
We found nothing but good reports. So, and we know the engineer who's overseeing the project lives in town. So,
Yeah, $1 million project though, it's like I would not necessarily just default to the lowest bid, because sometimes the cheapest bid is not ultimately the least expensive.
it can turn out that way.
Turn out very expensive.
well, I brought that up too, that was one of my concerns is like, well, theoretically, they left $100,000 on the table. So, is it a plan to make that up?
Right, they get pinches in places and all of a
So
sudden.
that's where we're gonna be, really tight and having the oversight, I think, hopefully we'll cut down on the extras. And I think what you found, Mike, is Clark found that their work was good and no extras.
Good work, no extras,
No
good
extras.
communication.
So
For his three
that's all you can hope.
Good,
takeaways
good,
on it.
good.
so what's the action you want to take?
we approve the, like a motion that we move to approve the bid
Or award the bid
Award the
to
bid to
Birdseye
Birdseye.
Construction Company.
contingent on finalization of the contract terms suitable for the town of Underhill, under Brad's review.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Thank you guys for all your work to pull this together.
I'm sorry?
Oh, thank you to the committee for,
Well, we
No,
just
the
did
work
a
to get
little part.
this all
I mean, other
together.
people doing things too, so.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, are you ready for the question? We'll do a roll call vote because there's going to be an abstention. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Bob Stone, aye.
Patty Richards, aye.
Dan Steinbauer, aye.
Maureen Collins-Cold, aye.
Charlotte will abstain.
The motion passes 4-0 to 1.
Or maybe you want to say recuse
Thank you, recuse.
instead of abstain. Maybe. Yeah.
With
I appreciate the vocabulary.
with comment, and the comment would be is that because your spouse works for the same company, then it's potential.
If you could vote, would you vote?
Doesn't really matter now.
The only blood coming from my is, never mind. It's how good Birdseye is, that's it.
So we took care of that, and then there was the other piece was the
Let's,
the
if we could,
paving part.
if we could talk about the bond, just, I have it in there and then we can go to
Yeah,
your
whatever. I'm
paving thing. Is that okay? Because it's just
perfectly fine
important.
with me.
Yeah, really important.
So Jennifer mostly has been working on the bond application. And there's a document in there for internal controls checklist. So they put that together. That needs approval and it needs Bob's signature. So that tonight. So the bond application is due,
Glad I'm here.
the bond application is due Monday, but Jennifer's heading out of town tomorrow. We want to get it. And Jennifer, who knows the bond bank person,
Yeah,
would like to review it ahead of time.
Yeah. So he asked that if we could do it, that when we're done with this meeting tonight, I would get it submitted before I leave tomorrow morning.
And the reason we didn't get you the application, it's really pretty straightforward, but it's a portal thing. So you could print it out, but it's kind of awkward. There's no real tricks in there. But here's the key question is, and I'm glad, Patty, it was your doing that, your suggestion that
Here we
we bond for the full amount of the estimate. I'm glad we did. So we need, I think it's basically Tyler's recommendation, Cricket's and the infrastructure committee to bond for the full 878
Exactly.
in the application.
Mhm.
So if you're good with that, consensus on that, and get Jennifer what she needs, and then you want to add anything more?
No, I included, the 878, the breakdown of the payments and what it looks like. That's just an example. I mean, it will change depending on what interest rates are when we finally get the bond. But that gives you an idea of what our principal and interest payments are over the course of the 20 years.
And that's built into the budget version
And
4.
that's in the budget, so you can,
I think the good news is the rate did, like Jennifer provided one of these a few months ago.
yeah. when we
And I
were
noticed the
talking about-
rate had dropped almost a quarter point. The Feds dropped the rate. I don't know how that affects the bond market,
Yeah.
but hopefully if it's a trend, maybe we'll be.
Yeah.
So this is the winter pool that
The
we're getting
deadline
into.
is the 15th.
So motion to obtain a bond in the full amount of 878,000 would be appropriate.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
The only thing would be, do you want to include, and to authorize Jennifer to submit the application for the December 15th deadline?
I almost heard Patty say that.
So moved.
So seconded.
What she said.
Anything else?
I
think
just
that
have a
makes sense.
question. So that 878 plus the grant should cover the cost of the project.
Correct.
Yes.
And then,
God willing, and the
More
creek
than-
don't rise.
In theory.
More than-
Oh, in theory, more than enough.
So we would have room for overruns or
Inspections.
Right, and
inspections.
that should cover
Or
the
paying back the
Cricket,
bond
Tyler, yeah.
portion of it earlier.
Absolutely.
Right,
So-
anything
so-
we don't use, we
Correct.
want to use up our grant right off, right? The
Mhm.
200, so we get that.
Right.
And then, and then we'll go from there.
Right. So we may not need the whole bond, but we're,
Better to have it in our pocket.
Exactly.
Yep.
yeah, good idea. Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, are you ready for the question? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the nay. That motion carries 5-0.
And Bob, if you wouldn't mind, in that folder, the other folder is the
Checklist.
checklist that needs your signature, and then if you could pass it off to Jennifer, she'll scan it and get it uploaded. Was it just
Games
one
begin,
signature or was it two?
construction.
Just, there's two signatures. One, I think there's one on the checklist. And then there's one on my explanation sheet that I included.
I only signed one, sorry.
Good thing I'm here.
You're very good at that.
Oh, wicked.
Pass the mashed potatoes.
Hmm?
Pass the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Practicing. It's the holiday season. There's a lot of that going on.
Paving next.
You can go ahead and tonight.
Okay, so then the last piece is the paving component.
Yeah, I think I should apologize first by saying that I've put together so many alternatives here, it makes your head spin. And really, what it boils down to, at least the way the HIC was looking at it, is does the town want to put just enough more money in the budget to supplement the 132,000 that we have left over from FY26 to bring the total paving up to 230 or about that,
Thereabouts.
which is about what we put in every year for paving? Or do we want to put a full 230 in the budget to supplement the 132 to bring our total paving up to 362 for next year? In other words, do we want to just use, do we want to try to get ahead a little bit? Or do we want to just do the minimum?
Everybody remembers, we anticipated spending 427. We got the grant, so that's why we've got this extra money sitting around.
So, I mean, the committee felt like we should move forward and get more paving done, because we're always sort of trying to play catch up with paving. But there is certain logic in saying, well, people
I don't know.
like to see their taxes stay as low as possible, so maybe we just put a minimal amount in.
I don't know that we should make that decision, in my opinion. I don't know if we should make that decision until we fill in some more of the variables in the budget. Because we really need to know where that number is gonna lie before we, because that's a fairly significant number.
It is.
So I appreciate all the choices because I feel like that's gonna help us when we get
Well,
to the point where we're
once
ready
you
to,
kind
yeah.
of figure out the philosophy you're headed for, then you can kind of pick and choose and
Yeah.
put something together that fits. I would say, from the perspective of the committee, and certainly from my perspective, the highest priority would be the next segment of Pleasant Valley Road.
Heading north from.
Yeah, heading north from what we finished this year.
Patty thinks so too.
There is a dip in there.
Yeah, I know.
You see everybody goes wide left and then circles back, and then there's a hill. And it's like if anybody's cruising over that hill, you're gonna have some fun.
You didn't accuse yourself.
But I think
that it's important to you?
The gist of it is you don't really need to
It throws the cars.
decide which one right now. The gist of it is exactly what Mike says, you know. Do we plug in the 230 plus the extra we have, or do you,
Well, the other
Use it.
number would be 98,
right,
adding to the 132 would bring us up to the 230.
but you'd have to carry that money over. But I think you're right, is you want to see how this budget plays
Yeah.
out,
Exactly.
and then you've got that option if you need to.
Right.
And
We put
362
everything,
is in version 4, the 362. is
Perfect.
What's in, the higher number is in there right now.
Oh, good, okay.
We throw everything in our wish list and then we start cutting. It's like, okay,
And in addition to that, there's the other two pieces that we wanted to address also.
So,
The beam, the 35,000 that was added
oh,
to
okay,
the,
yeah.
to the bridge line. And then also the question of whether, how to deal with the additional pavement repair and crack sealing or whatever, or I think it was pavement repair. That was an additional 20-something thousand. So those are all added into this version, but I would like to discuss that because those two right there are big numbers also.
I thought that work was gonna be done in the spring.
Well, from fiscal year 26.
Right.
It will get done before June 30th.
Mhm.
But then do we want to put another chunk of
Oh,
money
okay,
into fiscal year 27 for more pavement repair and or more crack sealing?
I think it's a perfect opportunity to step into where your statement about the dip, are you talking down by Dan Mann's?
just before Dan's house.
Yeah, so that section, that issue section is a section where we had planned on doing a pavement repair.
In fiscal year 26, that's for
Right,
this
so
year,
that would be kind of
taken care
silly if we're gonna do that segment.
If we're going to pave that segment.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't,
Exactly.
you wouldn't repair
So
it.
just,
No, we wouldn't repair it.
You're not gonna
just-
double pave.
we wanna keep that in our minds when we're
Mhm.
thinking about
Right.
this, that
So that's a plan for fiscal year 26, this fiscal year.
with the,
Right.
with the money that,
And I-
because they didn't.
I looked at that and we'd save about 8,700 if we don't repair that area and we wait a little longer till we pave it. So it's another 8,700 available for other repairs that we may want to make.
Because we hoped to do it this fall. You didn't make it. You did the crack sealing. They did a nice job with the crack sealing.
Mhm.
The bridge, I think, is more important.
Bridge
Bridge 8 was taken out in 1955.
Where's
So
Bridge
that-
8?
Bridge 8, the first one here,
Okay.
right here,
By the schoolhouse.
by the schoolhouse. So that was taken out in 55 in a flood. It's 70, what's that make it? 70 years old.
You do the
roughly.
math.
70 years old. So we think about that like a new bridge. So that, if you remember, Bob was here, Dan was here, in 2020, was it?
that we did the bridge.
We did, some deck
Repairs on the deck.
on the deck.
Yeah.
And, we spent a fair amount of money on it, but there's one girder down there that's,
That bridge is on a curve. And all the water, the salty water from wintertime, flows downstream with the stream. In other words, if you're driving north, flows to the left side.
Mhm.
And that damaged the curbing and a lot of the deck, and that's the repair you're speaking of.
yeah.
Well, that water also kind of seeped its way around the curbing and got onto the steel beam, so it's real rusty. The other steel beams are not nearly as bad. There's still paint on those. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're not nearly as bad. So we got some prices at one point, a year or so ago, for sandblasting and epoxy painting that beam. And it was quite expensive, like around 60,000, as I remember. And one company gave us a price for that, but they also presented us with an alternate method of approaching it called permarust, I think was the
Yeah,
name of
I
the
remember that.
process. And it's not as long-term as sandblasting and epoxy painting, but it's half the price.
And we like the idea.
And we liked the idea, and we presented the idea to Cricket and asked her what she thought. And basically, she said, this is kind of a no-brainer. Spend a little money, get it Band-Aided, then when you need to sandblast and paint the other beams, do it to this beam as well, and do them all at that point.
Mm.
So that's why we put that money in there. Wasn't it around 35 or
35
something?
is what we put in there.
Yeah.
It's easy to think about. It's like, okay, this is a repair that maybe not necessarily needs to be done today, but a little prevention today might save a lot of money in the future. I mean, you go to replace that bridge, you're talking some serious,
Big bucks.
serious dollars.
979,000.
Yeah. 9 million maybe.
More like about 2.5 million.
Didn't we put weeping holes or whatever it was called,
There's scuppers in there. And,
Scuppers.
Basically what's,
Remember that.
when the salt water
Nobody
gets
else
on the
plays
deck,
over
it goes down a pipe, so it doesn't drip on the infrastructure of
See
the,
those in the highway. all the
Bridge.
time.
goes straight down the tube. Those need to be maintained. Those need to be cleaned out and make sure they're working. Bridge 7 Cricket and I cleaned them out a couple times. But it's important. All bridge maintenance is important, I think. Washing the deck, getting the salt off it from this, from the winter.
Yeah.
Those are important things for longevity, just like anything else. It's like you wash your car.
Do we have the right tool for that?
I don't know. You guys, when's the last time you pressure washed the bridge? You haven't?
Hasn't since I've been here.
Yeah.
We shoveled dirt off.
Yeah, the square shovel. You see that, and even the states at fault, I saw them in the fall doing the wrong way bridge. I'm like, you're gonna wait till the fall to do this? It should have been done right after the snow was gone. And if you sub it out, fine, get it cleaned off and get it cleaned up.
Well, I guess.
Is that something that should be on a like maintenance schedule or something that, whether it's something we have contractors do, or if it's, it's not like you guys have a lot of spare time in the spring?
Fire department used to come do it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
They used to. Did it a couple times.
Interesting.
But the Hummel Bridge down here by Cedric's, and that one worries me because of the intricate concrete work that's on the rail, that's, once that starts to corrode, I don't know, I'm all about, I think, getting the,
We gotta take care of our expensive babies.
we do. We do.
Even the non-expensive babies.
Well, we have a lot of things to take care of. That's the thing too. There's a lot of things we'd like to do, but
Yeah.
as we all know, we may not be able to do all of them.
We may know a guy that might be able to help with coordinating some hose training.
Probably.
But the bridge beam though, it is, I think it's,
Don't do it in the winter.
that's something, and maybe that's another thing, like, okay, if you put it off this year, maybe
Yeah,
next year.
I just want to make sure that it's something that we all had talked about.
Yeah, thank you.
And then the crack zone, whether it's worth it or not, to continue to do that.
Yeah, that's the next question. You have it added, we did it this year, and then next year we have in there another 25, I think, on top of it. So, or there's additional paving repair and crack sealing for a total of 51,000 in the next year budget. And again, I just want us to be transparent. Those are big ticket items. Do we want to continue to do that? And does it make sense? And do we want to put in another 25,000 or whatever it is for these pavement repair sections? Or, I don't.
Personally, I think we ought to hold off and actually see how these repairs work out for us.
We haven't done it yet.
We haven't done them. We're hoping that works and it makes things nicer. I don't know of a lot of other spots that we need to address. Maybe a few here and there, but I don't know if there's 25,000 worth. And if we end up doing that Pleasant Valley segment, and we have that, we have some money there. I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess-
there are a couple places on that segment where we looked at for patch repair.
Right. Yeah, more than
That's the
$8,000.
80, no, well,
Or is that
I
everything?
looked at them both, but
So,
So it just might be an area where, when we're starting to look at the big picture, all the numbers.
we leave the 25 that we normally have in there, and then we decide we're gonna do some pavement repair, or we do some crack sealing, or we do it all in pavement repair.
we're doing it all in seal.
Right,
Yeah.
we just kind of make that decision on what we see
But not necessarily put both in.
and put another 25.
Right.
I don't think.
We may want to highlight that a very unique color to draw our attention to that.
So the Pleasant Valley section we just did, theoretically, hopefully we're not experiencing any cracking in that,
Well,
right?
it'd be nice if we didn't.
If we didn't, so if we do see a couple cracks, that's the time it's important to get
Get it
those.
early, exactly.
But you can also, like, if you look down the valley or that section before we paved it, it was crack sealed too much. It was just a sea of,
Yeah,
Crack
there's a
seal.
point of diminishing returns, I mean, it's just that these roads, they go through so much motion in the wintertime, heaving and they crack.
And then
I
you
mean,
see all that crack ceiling stuff all on the side
You
of the
said you were
road.
going to slow down on Pleasant Valley, so that should help too.
I
Put
have.
it in the summer, plow down the-
Yeah,
That's why I was
exactly.
late last.
so,
Every year.
but, we did all those roads. Remember, we doubled up on the pavement that year.
You're doing your
We
part.
did
I like it.
5 roads, right? So
Yeah.
those have been crack sealed a couple of years now, consecutively. So theoretically, you probably wouldn't see, or you probably shouldn't be continuing to crack seal them.
Are we good?
Well,
Yeah.
Because I got 1 minute left to discuss this, and then if you want to stay on time, then we should be jumping into Jennifer's world at 7:25. Oh, look what time it is. Exactly 7:25. Thank you, Mike, for
I'm all
coming
set
in
then.
tonight. I think so.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Thank you, Mike.
Great work.
You're welcome.
Happy holidays.
Good evening.
Wait, you don't want to stay and talk budget?
I would, but I think I'd rather go home. and have dinner.
Okay, drive carefully.
Please.
Thank
Allow me.
you. Thank you. Wow, this is,
Shouldn't get that treatment.
no, I can't, these guys never do that.
You give up your seat for me, it's the least I could do.
Oh, hello, everybody. One moment, please, while I pull up my screen. We are talking about the amended version for fiscal year 27. I apologize for having to do that amendment. My brain just got really confused about all the,
No
No
apology
worries.
necessary.
Exactly.
So version 4 edited.
it's the one that's in the packet that Brad sent, and I am going to
I
share my.
redid the second packet I sent.
Once I get down
We
to
did
it.
stick the, I think before that, the equipment inventory and the
Yeah,
depth survey.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for that.
Mhm.
Hopefully that was helpful
Yes,
information.
For Patty.
it is. So I asked
Patty's,
for it.
Patty's, it's right here.
Okay. and
My
I
kids wanted to
go-
look at pictures of all of them. They were sitting with me at the counter when I was reviewing this. I was like, all right, guys, here's a picture of what this one looks like. That's very fun.
You got pictures of them too?
No, I just like Googled a picture of like what the things look
I'll
like.
send you some.
I'll bring it by the garage. Sure, we owe you guys cookies this year. Not as bribes.
Oh, of course not. Like, are we hearing this? You know,
That's on the record.
I'll bring the kids by, so you know what the box looks like. Wink, wink.
I can zoom in.
It's on the record. I know this
This
works.
is gonna be recorded. Make sure we get that documented.
I'm just gonna bring a
I'll
box
just
of
follow wherever you're
Oreos.
going.
They've already been baked.
And a $50 bill underneath the cookie,
Okay, excuse me, but you're cutting into my time
This is
here.
true.
Sorry, take it away.
I forgot to send in my request to bake cookies next week, but I made my suggestions for the things that I was gonna bake, and my wife said, "You're gonna bake those healthy cookies? You're never gonna win." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I love those cookies." She's like, "You'll be the only one." So, I don't know,
Healthy
maybe it's
cookies.
better. I might just bring mine as a, to cleanse your palate afterwards.
No one sent in other than Larry. So no one said that they were really gonna participate other than Larry and I. So
Oh,
I feel like, we can just open the door up, but we should really know, so we don't get 30 sugar cookies.
Yeah, but I think we shouldn't know what ones people are baking, because if you get 2 batches of sugar cookies, you can clearly vote on which one's better.
This is all true. This is the first, this is the,
This is all part of your time.
Okay. Moving right along. We're on version 4. That would be the blue color today. So on page 1, what I wanted to take a moment to explain is line 26, line 45, and line 104. This is the reappraisal situation. So every year we receive money from the state to the tune of about $13,900. In years that we're not doing reappraisal, that money goes into a reappraisal reserve. It was designed by the state back when we were doing reappraisals every 10 years, and we would accumulate enough money so that when it came time for the year to do the reappraisal, we had the money in the reserve and we didn't have to then go ask taxpayers to cough up more money to do it. However, 2 things have happened. One, the cost of reappraisals has increased and the state hasn't increased what we're receiving. And number 2, we're being required to complete reappraisals more frequently. This is not taking into account the statistical reappraisal, which is not costing us a lot of money. But Amanda is happy to be here if you need her to explain this next week in any more detail, but the gist of it is that in order for us to have the money accumulated for the year that we need to be ready to do our next full reappraisal, which we now estimate is gonna cost $200,000, we need to be putting money into this reserve so that when that year happens, we have it. So you will see.
Can you go to that line in the middle of the screen? I'll zoom in on it so people can see.
Okay.
What number is that?
Hold on. So line 26 is our revenue. That's 13,900. Can you see
Keep
it?
going up, keep
Okay.
going up.
Okay.
Bring it closer to the middle. So you keep going. I can
Figure
zoom
out
in.
which button to press. It just goes, it's not going, it's not doing that. It's only switching, it's not, I can't do that.
Okay.
It switches pages. So at the bottom where it says
We
13.
can't see it.
Okay, hold on. There, it's right at the bottom, 13.9. It was just there. Did you see it? Everyone has it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you looking at?
Line 26.
Oh,
Line
okay,
26,
yeah.
reappraisal and equalization revenue. That's what comes from the state. Okay? Then
There you go. Whoop, shit, jump.
you see the appraisal, line 45, that's the reserve money. We're not using any of that this year. So you can see that's there. And then if you go to line 104, which should be right almost in the middle.
Right at the top.
Can you see it?
Yep,
No.
yeah, we can see
The
it.
33.
Right at the top.
Okay, so that line 104, professional technical services, that is where Amanda would like to add $25,000 for the next several years to go into the reappraisal reserve. It's built into the budget.
I think that's
So we-
really smart.
We
to
won't
do.
be spending that money this year,
Mhm.
but in order for it to go into the reserve, we have to add it into the budget.
Mhm.
We already have the reserve, so it doesn't have to be a warrant item. It just has to be on the budget.
So I'd like to know when, you already said how much it would cost, but I'd really like to know when that's gonna happen.
I don't remember which year she said.
Yeah,
Is it
it's-
already
it's-
set, or is
it's
it
not
just
set.
anticipated?
No, it would be anticipated based on our CLA, I think, but she's anticipating 6 years maybe from now,
I think it was 6 years from the,
or from the last one.
From
yeah,
the last one. Yeah.
I can find that out for you on the 18th.
Mhm.
But I guess I'm just wondering, like, so if we have 6 years and it's $200,000, you're just dividing that
Gotta
number
make
by
sure.
Well, we-
6 or 5, and then we have to put this amount of money, if the target's 200,000, then this is what we would have to be at to hit that target.
Yes, plus we have money in the reserves. So on the 18th next week, I'll tell you what's in the reserve
Mhm.
for reappraisal already, plus what we're gonna get this year in fiscal year 26 and 27, and I'll give you that exact
In
number.
addition, we get money from the state, so.
The 13,000.
I would assume she came up with that number by doing just what you
Yeah.
said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess my concern is that if we already are putting money into reserve anyway, we're just keeping more money into, we're filtering more money into reserve. This would be specifically in a reserve account for just that purpose.
Correct. It's a reappraisal reserve, so that money is there earmarked, so that the year we have to do the reappraisal, we hire contractors to come in and help do that. That's what it costs.
Right, aside from the fact that instead of just taking money from a reserve, the general fund reserve account.
Correct.
It's always, I think it's this way because it has to go under reserve per the state. They pay us every year this amount of money, but it's not enough. So the reserve is already set up. Why not just keep supplementing it?
But Bob's point is, we could just put 25,000 into our general reserve, and then we would have it there, and we can use some of it for this. So I think that's what I'm hearing you say. So we can,
As long as you're disciplined
right,
and you don't touch it and then go out and do something wild and crazy,
Yeah.
like,
As long as a future select board that wasn't privy to this conversation.
didn't do that.
didn't-
Yeah.
So I think it's good, I would suggest, given our time, that we percolate on this, and I get some of those details and answers to those questions next week. If you'd like Amanda to
Mhm.
be there and explain any of this process, she's happy to be there. So just say the
Either
word.
that or write a memo. Either way, I mean, it's fine.
Okay,
Mhm.
so she and I will sit down between now and, we'll sit down on Monday, so it can be in your packet on Tuesday.
As a side note, we should reach out to VLCT and see if there's anybody currently lobbying for a state increase of that funding.
But
That like, I know the state doesn't have a ton of extra money going around, but like,
Well, the state is kind of opting to take it all over themselves.
ah,
So there's other dynamics in the works
I see.
so,
The whole appraisal
Yeah,
process?
for the whole state.
For the state?
Yep.
Ooh.
so if that were to happen, then it would just be a matter of the board then dissolving that fund and then reallocating that
Oh,
money.
no,
into a
the
different-
state will be coming after
They'll
money.
come
from
take our
us.
money.
They'll want our money.
The money that we have allocated for that purpose.
Just their 13,000 a year.
How are they gonna fund it, They need to,
But they wouldn't take.
But we
if
don't know.
If we supplemented it, they can't take the supplemental piece.
no, unless they tell everybody, unless they do it per capita and say, this is what it's gonna cost you.
Well,
I would say they give a few years notice on
You would
it.
hope so.
but I really don't want to get into the weeds, but then I guess that goes back to my earlier point. Why would we want to put extra money into that? Why wouldn't we just want to put it into?
If there's a
The
risk
gener-
that it could be taken back,
Exactly. If
that
we
may be.
Set up a
So-
special savings account and then they say, oh, you have, it's like saving for
Yeah.
college.
because because once it's in the reappraisal reserve, then it can only be used for that. So let's percolate on that and
Okay.
bring this back up next week. The next one I wanted to point out was 113, which is the telephone right there in the middle. I changed it to 0 because we're switching to the fiber optic and we won't have that cost.
Excellent.
The next one is the sheriff line. That one, again, we still don't have the details, but what we do have is our current information, which is that in order to double the hours to the 20 hours, we have a new rate of $90 an hour. So that brought that up to 93,600 if we were to double the hours. So you can see it's more than,
So I'd like to comment on that to say that we need the number from the sheriff by next week.
We have it. So can I just say the conversation I had with the sheriff? I emailed him again because I had emailed him several weeks ago and he was going to send it off to his scheduler. So I just bug him again 5-6 days ago, and he called me. He didn't respond, but he called me, and he said, well, I've talked to the scheduler and our crew here, and we can. He said, I'm turning a lot of work away, but he said we can do morning commute, evening commute, and weekends.
Okay.
And he said, and I said, is there any extra charge for the weekends? And he goes, no, I can't do that. He said, I charge the straight rate. But he said, what I can tell you, he said, because insurance is skyrocketing, car prices are skyrocketing, fuel is skyrocketing, and they don't charge us anything extra. It's just a per hour rate that he said, I'm going to have to bump my rate to $90 an hour next year. So I did get a little bit of a preview of the particular deputy that would be in our zone, and he's extremely aggressive, ticketing aggressive. So I would expect revenue to come up. He's aggressive. So when you see him here on the weekend, he's going to be aggressive. That's just how they are. That you could direct them to give more warnings if you want. It's up to you, but he's aggressive. I heard that in Jericho alone, I think he issued over $78,000 worth of tickets. So we do get paid. We do get paid when the sheriff stops or the deputy stops someone on Vermont Route 15 because we have an agreement in place with V-Trans. It's I think it's called a 1900 or something agreement. So we may not get it all, but we get a fairly good substantial section of that.
Well, you get a little bit.
Yeah.
You get a lot more if it's on the town highway than you do if
Sure.
it's on the state highway.
So it's up to you. If you want to start ticketing really heavy, you could certainly pass that direction, or if you want to do the more warning approach, whatever. But I'm just saying that
So this 90, oh, sorry.
$90 an hour, that includes whether Whatever time of
Regardless
day
of
it
the
is,
schedule.
whatever it is.
You
Okay.
just tell them you want the tickets to pay for the budget.
Yeah, oh God.
I have kind of mixed feelings on
I
that.
don't think, I don't know if you
In
necessarily want to do that. but-
some ways, I don't want to have the reputation of some towns in the state,
Right,
that
it's a speed
have,
trap.
you know.
Like going through southern Vermont with the trees hanging over the. speed limit
Danville.
sign.
Yeah, yeah.
How about Danville?
And, you know, I won't name towns.
Bridgewater.
But, but,
Bob, why do we know these towns?
but, you know, on the other hand, you know, it would be a good thing to have speeders.
Well, let's see if it gets, if $90 is the number and we're in agreement that 20 hours seems to be okay, then let's move on. And then we can certainly, if this passes, we can certainly have more of a conversation.
How we want to
How we
do it,
want to do it, if approved.
I would say just one quick thing to add, that the 10 hours we're doing, we're probably the lowest hour.
We are.
In
We
almost
are.
every town around us. Even Westford does
Well, that
more
will
than 20.
increase our
Yeah.
traffic calming.
The next one is line 147. That's the Underhill-Jericho Fire Department. I simply plugged in the new number that we received, that 372,158, which is a
And that reflects that
5.9%
5.9%
increase. Yeah.
increase, yeah.
Which is why I then went back and checked my math, and I'll reach out to the fire department tomorrow to make sure that that gets corrected.
Mhm. Thank you.
Down to line 176, the library, theirs was approved, so I just highlighted that theirs got approved at their board meeting. Cemetery fund is still at 6,000, still waiting on the final pricing for the fencing, correct?
Yes, we're getting that.
Hopefully we'll have that, but again, so it's blue, next week it'll be whatever my next color is. Running out of colors, guys. And then, let's see, the next one
A few
is,
years ago, you had 11 versions.
yeah, let's not go, let's not
You
do
had
that.
plenty of colors.
No, I don't. I'm gonna have to start coming up with some new palettes. So the next one is line 206.
Mhm.
That is the town hall great room stuff that's still in there. And I highlighted line 208, just so you could see that this is a 6.4% increase over last year for general expenditures.
General fund.
Keep in mind that if you pulled out that 161,000, which is 129,000. If you pulled that great room ARPA stuff out, it would be flat. So it's really
All
not
right.
an increase, but that's why I wanted to point that out. And then now we're moving down to some of the things that we just talked about, down to the highway stuff. Hold on, okay. Small, on the top, can you see the small equipment purchase? No.
No, you went by it. Just
Hold
go-
on.
There it is,
Okay.
right there.
Line 237, we've added, this year, we put 9,000 in and, we bought a compactor. Next year, we need to replace the welder, and that's 8,500. So that has been added to this line item in line number 237.
The welder's not 8,000. The welder's like 6,000, but that's just on top of the
Oh, yeah, okay.
normal amount that's in that.
Okay,
line.
there we go,
Got
thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Then line 255 is what we were just talking about, which is the,
Scroll down just a little bit if you can. Yeah,
this is not a perfect.
just hoping it for everybody to see on
There we go.
TV land.
Okay, TV land. So line 255 is the bridges, culverts, guardrails. That 75,000 is what we were talking about for the beam. That's
Mhm.
35,000 for the beam. And you can see the addition in the column is 35,000. So that is in there. And then under pavement repair and retreatment, we have the full 51,000, which includes that 25,000 extra that we just had talked about with Mike.
Yeah, and
It-
we're gonna take that out so instead of 51, it would go back down to like 25 or 26.
Correct. So for version 5, I will do that as long as we're all in agreement, which it seems like we are.
I think that makes sense.
And then, The last one is, the vehicles and equipment. We've got the shearer and the backhoe in there, but I pulled out,
Don't see it.
oh, hold on. You're not gonna see it, hold on. Oh my gosh. It won't show it unless, hold on, let me just reduce my size here.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Is it there?
No, scroll a little bit. No,
I'm sorry, I can't show you. But it is on the web, but this has been uploaded if anyone in TV land needs to see that. If you look at your line, 265, which I've now made so small, I can't see it. I pulled out the buyout of the lease because that would become a warning item. So it would not be here.
It's on the vote.
Once we get our numbers all together, I want to get a good understanding of what we're thinking those warning questions are, including any new appropriations that might be added, because those numbers, if all those things get voted on and approved, they're gonna get added to that budget and after town meeting. So it would increase
important
our,
for people to understand that.
yeah, and I'll make sure that that's
Yeah,
all
the
in my
1% of
explanation.
the 1% of the residents that go to town meeting.
Yeah, I know.
So,
You'd want to have
Jennifer,
that in the. that's-
In the
you'd wanna have it
next
on a flyer.
version,
yeah,
in
Part
the
of the
note
town
for
meeting.
265, can you include the breakdown for how much of that 101 is the shear and how much is the backhoe?
yes, it's on the explanation data.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
No, the budget is approved on the floor.
Well, if you put, the truck would go on Australian ballot.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, so if we say the shear,
Oh, I
Sure.
don't have the share in the, hold
You
on.
could, that
I-
could be debated from the
I
floor.
have it on the, it's on
Or you could put it in Australian
the
ballot.
bottom of the notes page.
Either way you
In
want
the
to do it.
notes page. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's on the
Sure.
bottom of this page.
I'm
The
just saying
notes page, it
it's
says
a-
truck share
Either way,
46.7
just-
and bucket loader
it's an option.
55.
Which document is that?
Hold on.
Oh, the notes, there it is. Okay,
Anything.
there it is. Thank you.
Yeah, right,
I think the equipment's different though.
right there.
So it always has been, but
It's on the bottom
usually
of that
it's
page.
associated with a loan.
101.7.
But it's a- it's
Got
a-
it.
it's
46.55.
something that can be used a
So
lot.
not that much different of.
No, I'm saying associated with a loan.
So that's
It's usually-
where we're at,
it's usually on
and-
Australian ballot.
If it's in the budget, it wouldn't be on the line.
Right, but it could be debated from the floor. That's the risk you have, you take.
Oh,
If somebody stands up and says, I want to hack this out, and then debate happens, and that's the way it goes down.
Sure. The town meeting's all done.
Exactly.
So if we look at the bottom, let's see if we can get the bottom line, just so you can see where we're at for now. There we go. So if you look at the total bottom line up at the top there, I have to zoom mine in because I can't see it without my glasses. There we go. The total expenditure line is over 5 million. It's 5.2 million versus last year, 4.2. So that's an increase of 940,000. Keep in mind, the bridge is
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of it.
Just-
almost
yeah.
all of it. So this is, as we're looking at it,
And this is a
keep in mind that,
public relations nightmare to explain this.
no, I don't think so.
Money in, money out.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because it's about, once we get to the point where we're talking about what we're raising by taxes, we
Right.
have the total number, and then we subtract out, we've got the $200,000 grant, we've got the $878,000 note, we've got other income, we've got all these things. What we're looking to raise from taxes is that
Would be low.
bottom pool. So, but the other thing too, that I just want us to keep in mind is that last year, or this year, 26, we used surplus from the years before. So
Mhm.
we were already up. But if you look at this coming year, the 3.6 million in that third column, which is pulling out, it's just pulling out capital. If you look at our operating expenses, the increase went from 3.1 to 3.5 to 3.6. So if we pull out the capital expenditures,
It's a pretty modest
not much of an
increase then.
increase. And I think that that's largely due to some of the adjustments that we made in the highway expenditures, the contractor lines, and really, Russ and I really sitting down and saying.
Yeah, but
what
there
do we
you can
need
see
here?
the jump, the 3.1 to the 3.5, that was the extra money we put in, right, for the Pleasant Valley.
No, because that's capital was pulled out. That was capital pulled out. That's without capital.
Okay, that, so your green is without capital.
Yeah. But some of it is, we also spent ARPA money, so
Yeah,
you know, things are just getting back to normal. My point is, I think it's a very responsible budget. And if you look at go through this, you know, I would recommend everyone goes through it and look at each category. Look at all the percent increases and look back 2 years, look at last year, look at this coming year. And, you know, I think it's really a very responsible budget. I think, you know, I think what we're going to see is that our increase is very respectable. And what is going to be tricky is going to be, we're also going to have our reappraisal. So our grand list is going to increase probably 20% or more, which
40.
could be up as high as 40%, which means that the tax rate on this budget, once we have that number from Amanda, will look like it's much lower. The tax rate will look lower. But if the tax rate's lower, but if your property value's gone up. So it's gonna be a very difficult prediction for people. That's why we need to that's why I'm saying, let's look at the expenses, because that's what we control. We don't control the tax rate at this point for this year.
I think
And it's
that's
a
an
really
excellent
important
point.
thing for us to understand, because that number is, if it comes in instead of at
Right,
5.5, it comes in at 6.4. I mean, it's gonna make, everyone's property values are gonna increase. So just because the tax rate may actually be lower, but your property
yeah,
value goes up.
that's a good point. Just don't think about, oh, what's my tax bill gonna be?
No.
What's your expenditures? That's
Not
what
your
you-
tax rate, it's the
Right.
expenditures. Yeah.
Right, it's like, okay, how are we spending compared to past years?
And then we can,
Do we know when that's gonna be set?
um,
Like,
Not till July.
well, it won't be finalized till July, but I will have an estimate for you. I didn't want to cloud our budget process because it's gonna probably be a decrease in the tax rate considerably, you know? But what I want to do is for us to look at our expenses and be responsible in our budgeting, and then say, okay, here's how it's gonna shake out this year for the tax rate. And we will be able to predict if your house is 500,000 and here's the tax rate,
But
and your
the
house is gonna
problem
go up
is-
20%.
The problem is, it's just, you can't say that with any certainty
Nope.
in a reappraisal year.
So
Okay.
that's where we're at. So there's some funky stuff going on, but I think what we need to look at is our expenses, which we've been doing every week for the last several weeks, and we will do again next
thank you,
Thursday.
Jennifer.
As long as I
But
get
next
to New
week
York
there'll be
City and
cookies.
back, I'll be here next Thursday. And if there's anything else you want me to tweak or add or change, just shoot me an email and I can throw any numbers in. What I'd like to do next week is you'll get one in your packets, but then I'd like to go dynamic next week. So you can say to me, hey, what does it look like if we do this? If we pull out these two, what does it look like? And do a little bit of like
Some
dynamic
live
stuff
modeling
during the
stuff,
meeting
yeah.
next week,
Ooh, fun.
because we're pretty close.
Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Jennifer?
Great work.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck in your travels.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
gotta, you've got.
I'm gonna go do my thing and upload that, and then I have to be at the airport at 4.
There you go.
New York City.
And can you tell, what's his name again?
Ken?
Tell Ken, to call me if something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I will.
I'll just say that if there's something on the highway side, when you're reviewing, if you want to call me, come see me or whatever.
Whoa, what happened here? Oh,
Feel
sorry.
free.
That was just me.
All
lying.
right.
Feel free to reach out or come see me anytime if you have questions about anything there.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the fall 2025 old landfill monitoring report and garage supply well test results. Came in from Ross.
So kind of the cover email says it all. I think you could look at the numbers. Dan's used to looking at some of the numbers and I think, we still have that little problem with the,
That number 7?
yeah. But it's been consistent.
Yeah, that's where the old metal dump was.
Right. So it's been consistent and
People would drop off cars.
I'm sure,
Really?
Probably.
and I'm sure,
Who would?
the
Yeah.
state is gonna say
Drive
the
it
same, what they always do.
I don't think it's
Continue
right.
on.
Mhm.
So as in years past, can we please post the test results at the town garage?
Yeah.
So that they specifically have that.
Well, that's the
Information
second
available.
part of it. So we've got the first, there's two reports here. So the first one was the monitor wells for the landfill. The second is the water test for the supply well. We only do that in the fall and I will.
Yeah, then specifically the water that they would be using for potentially drinking.
Yeah.
I
don't
think they use a
drink it,
lot of bottled water
but they
there.
do.
But in the event that, they do drink the water, which is, according to this data, is safe to drink.
Yeah, I brought it over last year.
Yeah, I'd rather just have the data that this is what we're going on based upon.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then also I'll make sure Bob knows to send this report to the state if you accept it.
So a motion to accept the report as presented would be in order.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All those in favor of accepting the landfill monitoring report and garage supply well test results, please signify by saying aye.
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 As opposed to nay, the motion carries 5-0. Well, we are 1 minute off. Hopefully we'll get caught right up. Closing public comment. There's no public here. It doesn't look like there's anyone there in the virtual world. So now we're on to no warrants. Approved minutes from the 13th meeting. I'm going to push that to our next meeting.
That was pushed from last.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right.
Member items, correspondence, announcements. Next regular scheduled select board meeting is to be on the 25th of December, ho, 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 which has been canceled. A special meeting has been scheduled for December 18th, which will be a joint meeting with our friends from Jericho to review the fiscal year 2027 Underhill-Jericho Fire Department budget. So, anybody have anything?
And we'll do a little bit of budget work. We'll try to keep it shorter next time.
That'd be good, because we've only met like every week, the whole month of
The
December.
whole month of November, December.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to have it be kind of lighthearted, and I know there's some ringers here that have been, secretly pawning their cookies off for Patty and I.
And
And yeah, there's 3 of us that are kind of left in the dust here. All right.
I had one of them after supper. It's really good.
Oh, I can only imagine. All right, anybody have anything? No?
Oh, I think Sherry had a
Sherry's gonna memo here.
in there, but whatever you want to do. It's getting kind of late now.
What's the
so I don't
memo?
know if we can find anybody where to go, but it's up to you guys.
Well, what's the memo?
Request the use of the town credit card for the 2025
Oh, yeah.
holiday luncheon for the
Oh, we need to
employees.
do that, that's right.
Yeah, it's getting pretty late, but I think we can still squeak in somewhere if you want to approve it.
I think we certainly should approve it.
Yeah, the place that they used to go is no longer, they used to go to Cody's, right? And Cody's is no
Yeah, we
longer.
don't go there.
So wherever you wanna, I think is keep it reasonable.
Mhm.
I would like to make a request so that we're not paying for alcohol drinks.
I would second that.
It's just standard protocol not to pay for booze for
Yeah,
the
sure.
taxpayers.
Or we don't have to pay the whole thing at all. I mean, we
Yeah,
can do
I'm
it all.
I'm
Okay.
supportive of
It really
luncheon.
doesn't matter, really.
Totally
It
in
doesn't.
support of the
We're gonna
luncheon.
go out regardless,
But I just-
together.
Of course
Totally
you are.
support luncheon, but I just don't think it's good form to pay for the booze.
Yeah.
That's just the practice I'm used to.
So that's the consensus of the board, is that we're okay with a luncheon, but we would not be okay with alcohol, that would be paid for by the employees on their own.
Okay, that makes
Sounds
sense.
good.
I guess, are we going to address if in the event that there's a snow event and half the team has to be split, the road crew isn't able to join you because, the day that you pick, they're plowing. In years past when that's happened, that they would be able to get together and go out for breakfast.
Yeah, I think it's
Mhm.
better to do it that way because it's hard for them you just never know. It's
Yeah,
hard to plan on anything.
So the only other thing, I guess, I brought this up last time, and I just remembered, because we're talking about it, if that's a consensus, that we've also, since I've been on the board, we've approved, getting like a gift card. In years past, we've bought each employee a $50 gift card to the Jeffersonville Village Tavern, which seems to go over fairly well with, I haven't heard any complaints, but I've heard many thank yous from the employees. So that would probably be an appropriate thing if we wanted to continue that and offer that to the employees, or some other place, that you guys.
No, we all like that place.
I would support that.
yeah, me too. I think
So
it's a good
move
idea.
that we authorize, and I can pick up the gift cards if we use the town's credit card, or I can get reimbursed, I don't care. $50 per employee for the Village Tavern in Jeffersonville. So I make that motion.
Second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of giving $50 per employee as a thank you holiday, whatever, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Do we need a motion on the use of the credit card for the luncheon?
I'd
I
say
think
it
you
was a
said that
consensus,
consensus that
but
it's okay.
but
I don't know
I can,
we
if
need
you
a
want to,
motion.
I move that we authorize the town employees to utilize the town credit card for a lunch or breakfast in the event that they can't all meet at the same time for a holiday meal together.
I'll second.
Discussion
Discussion,
with restriction of no alcohol.
no booze.
Well, no alcohol paid by the town.
No, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna have a beer. Whether you say I can or can't. I'm gonna have one.
Try to limit your goodwill and cheer.
Yeah.
It's also a good practice because you're cutting out the road crew because they can't be drinking,
Right.
if they be going with you.
They're following the rules.
Any other,
Eyeball on it.
any other discussion? Ready for the question? All those in favor of authorizing the town to staff to utilize the credit card for a luncheon or breakfast, please signify by saying, with no booze.
Thank you.
Paid for by the
No
town.
booze paid for by the town.
That's right.
It needs to be really clear.
Very clear.
Underline that
Paid
one.
for by the town.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. If there's no other business, we're at Dan's favorite part. Oh,
I just
one
stuck in the correspondence, you'll see we got the $5,000 for the community.
Community clear up.
So we gotta start thinking about green up day. I'll be here before you know it. So maybe
Man.
think about creative things, maybe.
A creative, the community cleanup fund for $5,000.
But let's just put it in your head and,
Well, then we did that for the green up day, so, right?
Yeah.
yeah, but we get a fresh batch here.
I know.
So we've got $5,000 in there.
And we can use that, could we use that towards like conservation and materials, or does it have to go for just actually like,
Well, I'll study. We'll put it on as we get closer to kind of green up day. I'll post what the rules are.
okay,
Awesome.
perfect. Now, Dan, I think it's your favorite time. C
Holding us in suspense.
is for cookie.
I do move we adjourn.
Second.
It's not debatable. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:04 and ahead of schedule. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right.
Well
Good job,
done.
everyone.
Thank you.